Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. A number of you have expressed interest in seeing my garden and see my plant collection, so I just grabbed my phone and decided to give you a tour of my new garden today. Mind you, I have to say that this is still a very much work in progress. The garden's only probably 20% complete, so don't expect to see quite a show. But I just want to keep a record of what it's looking like right now, and I think I'm going to document it as we go along, just to give you an idea of where it is or where it has been and where it's going to be at. All right, if you don't mind, please follow me and enjoy the show. So here is the front of my garden here, and that's actually my house right there. And I have some space here in the front that I want it to be something like a lush green Balinese garden. But here in Thailand, it's very hot and not as cool as in Bali. So some plants that we see in Bali cannot really survive the heat here. Right now it's May and it's the end of the hot season, which, mind you, it was very hot, very humid. It's gotten a lot hotter than before, so things have changed quite a bit. In the front here, the first thing that you see is this Rhaphidophora pinnatum. This has a story to it. Actually behind it is actually a 40-year-old tamarind tree, so this is huge. This tamarind tree was planted when I was born 40 years ago, so this house is actually 40 years old. A couple months ago, this was just a bare tamarind tree, and one day I took a look at my neighbor's fence and I noticed some Rhaphidophora pinnatum right over there, growing just kind of like on its own. So I asked them for a cutting. Actually, they wanted me to take all of it because it's like weed to them. So I just took a few clippings and I planted on the ground here. Lo and behold, after a couple months, it took off like there's no tomorrow. Sprouting huge leaves, really beautiful, and it's the first thing you notice once you enter the house. So the first thing when I decided I wanted to rearrange the garden was the watering system, because I know that this type of garden requires constant, humidity and watering. And I just don't have that much time to water it every day, maybe twice a day. And I hired someone to set up a pump, a timer, and some irrigation hoses, as well as micro sprinklers. And so you see here, we just got done with that, and that's probably the first step. The watering is probably the most important thing. And you can see here we have some big mango trees. We have 3 mango trees, and in the middle here is a Java plum. This Java plum right here, I just want to point with a bamboo stick, I hope you don't mind. This Java plum, believe it or not, grew as a seed on its own, and it's been here for about 15 to 20 years now. Now it's a huge tree. It's higher than any of the mango trees surrounding it, and it bears fruit once or twice a year, and it's sending out these little berries, thousands of them, once or twice a year, depending on the climate here. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But you can see here there are quite a few empty spaces left for me to put plants in, and I'm still deciding what kind of plants to put in. Like for here, for instance, I would really like to have a begonia collection here right around these spots right here when we come in. But begonias I've tried, came and went. They didn't really survive that long. I'm not sure what I'm not getting right yet. Maybe it's the humidity, maybe it's the sunlight, or maybe it's just not, the overall environment is not humid enough. This is a plant I bought, I think, about a year ago. I heard it's a native to Borneo or something like that, and it loves shades. And the patterning on the leaves is just amazing. It looks really nice, and it really likes the shade. I noticed that this plant, if you plant it in too much sun, it doesn't really do that well. It really likes the shade, likes a lot of water. But one trouble that I've been facing is that I get these yellowing of the leaves on the outer side of the rim of the leaves, on the lower leaves. So I'm not quite sure what it's due to yet. Maybe it's not humid enough, or maybe it's just too much or too little water. I actually separated out quite a few plantlets here and placed them in a number of places around the garden to see which part they are, the most happy. There's one over there, as you can see. There are a couple more over there, as I'll show you. But one thing that you might notice is that we have rocks here. These are, we call them sponge rocks. What they are highly porous. Almost seems like they're made of clay sediments or something over eons. And now it's like a very porous kind of like clay-like rock. They're not that hard, so you can actually chip them with something hard. But the good thing about this is that they readily absorb water, and moss readily grows on them. So I really like them. First thing because that they keep the garden here humid, and also I would love the mossy look of the Balinese garden, where you see mosses everywhere. I placed these sponge rocks all over the garden. I think I probably brought in a truckload of them, a 6-wheeler, and I just placed them in different places across the garden just to keep the environment humid. I have some philodendron here. I forgot what the variety name was, but there was once that I brought so many philodendrons I kind of lost track of the names. We have a bird's nest fern right here. I love the ruffled leaves here, and it's been here for quite a while. It's a slow grower, but it looks really amazing and very unique. Behind it is I think this is Philodendron pastrazanum. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is actually a daughter plant that I separated out from the mother plant, and it's growing in a pot here. And the way I do is that when I buy a plant, I just leave them in the pot for now, and I just kind of try to place them where I think I want it, and I watch it for a while, see if it's happy there. If it's not happy, then I move it to some place where I think it likes it, and just kind of observe them for a while before I decide to plant them in the ground. We have some anthuriums here. I think they're pretty happy over here. The next thing I did after the watering is that I did a pavement. So I was inspired by the pavements, the natural pavements in Japanese gardens, where they align these cobblestone rocks in random shapes. But I just want to save some money. Actually, if I buy these mountain stones and kind of arrange them into these random patterns, it's going to cost me a lot, just because of the transportation. We have to transport it along the way, and the garden's not exactly that small. So see, the path extends all the way over there and surrounds this little island right here. So what I end up doing was I actually bought a mold of randomly shaped pieces, and I just filled them with cement in a random shape, and I arranged them here as the pavement. So all this is made of cement, but actually once the moss starts growing, then it looks pretty natural. And what I'm hoping to get, the look that I'm hoping to get in the future is that hopefully the soil or sand will fill in these gaps between the cements, and some moss will start growing. So having that little Japanese walkway look, I think that's what I'm looking for. This is the Java plum tree that I told you about, and you can see on there we have some pothos that grew on them, and it's been here for many years, and you can see that it grew all the way up to the top. And so we have these huge potho vines growing up to the top, and once they reach the top, then they kind of hang back down here into these little hanging vines. And so we have quite a few of these hanging vines in here. So this is another one that kind of hang back down. It goes all the way to the top. This is a little island here that is the centerpiece island of the garden, and we can see this from all three sides, from the front, from our house, and also from the side. And so what I plan to do here is that to make this like a little jungle, natural jungle Balinese style / Japanese, I guess it's a mix. So the plants that I'd like to have here are a lot of ferns, a lot of calatheas, just to have the nice lush green look of like a Balinese garden. Here's a caladium that I bought from the market. We just had a really strong rainfall the other night, and the leaves are already damaged. Actually, what I wanted to tell you is that the Java plum plant here, they send out thousands and thousands of little berries each year, sometimes twice a year. And what happens is that these berries, they're about the size of your thumb, they fall down, or actually they rain down on everything underneath it, across the garden, everywhere. And a lot of times, because of the weight of their berries, they punch holes in all the plants around here. And if you look carefully, you can still see the damage caused by these little bullets. They rain down on the bird's nest fern and punch holes on them. So I'm a bit bummed by this, but there's really nothing I can do. I just have to live with it, because this means that I can't plant any plants with really nice foliage anywhere near this tree, because when the Java plum has fruits, that means that, that's the end to all these nice leaves. So I began buying plants for this little island now. I have a lot of calatheas and aglaonemas that I bought on that trip, so I'm just placing them here before I really plant them into the ground. I have several tree ferns here. They're not doing that well at all. The leaves are brown, and I was told that the moisture content is just too low. So I installed these little white misting heads right there. I have 3 of them in the garden. That goes off once every 3 hours, hoping to increase the humidity here. But so far, even in this humid climate, it's not that much of a help, because the leaves are still turning brown. What you see here is the spider plants. We used to have it in the house, but we had so much, they sent out these runners and little baby plantlets, and we kind of plant them into small pots and put them here. Now they turn into fully grown plants, and so we just kind of like left them here, and they kind of took off. What I want to show you here is that you can see the ground covering. That's actually baby Java plum plants. So as I said, each year they send out thousands of little seeds and the fruits, and they just fall to the ground. There's so many of them, and now they're growing on their own into a ground cover. So at some point we need to remove these, otherwise each of them can grow into a huge tree, and that's the end of the garden. So that's one major task, apart from the the bullets hitting all our leaves, is that we have to deal with these little baby Java plum trees that grows seemingly everywhere in all the pots. Even in the middle of the bird's nest fern, you can see the Java plum plants growing. Here's something we got in the plant run the other day, last week I think. We have some aloe, and I'm actually fond of this one. I'm so happy I got it. It's a Sansevieria Golden Flame. The vendor told me it's a new cultivar, but when I searched it, it's not actually that new. It's been out for a while. It's just that I haven't seen it that often here in the market. But either way, it's not that expensive. It's about $10, and it's so beautiful. The leaves are really thick and healthy, and it's bright yellow, near the center. The really new leaves are lime green, and it grows a little bit, it becomes yellow before turning into like a regular Sansevieria style leaves. I'm really happy I got this. It's really nice, and I'm still looking for a place to put it. You might be hearing some water trickling and wondering what that is. Here's a little zone that I actually made not too long ago. It's a Japanese water fountain right there, and I made it from scratch with a bunch of helpers. It's turning out really nicely. It's giving me these trickling water sounds that you can hear throughout the house, and sometimes it's very soothing. And if you want to know how I make it, I can show you in another video, but I haven't found actually a YouTube video that detailedly document how to make such a fountain. I kind of have to gather information, bits and pieces of information from here and there, and kind of piece it out on my own. But I'm really happy of how it turned out. I wasn't really sure how it would turn out in the beginning, so I didn't really document it from start to finish, but now I'm really happy. So around this is where I want to put my maidenhair ferns. I have these sponge rocks right there, around it, right here. I have a bird's nest fern in the back, and I have some here. So here I want to have this fresh spring look, you know, with very lush foliage. So I put some calatheas, you know, really nice green calatheas there. Um, I'm planning to put some maidenhair ferns all around it, so the leaves can kind of spread out and cover some of the rocks, so it gives it a little green look. I'm planning to change this bowl. This is the only thing I can find when I set up this this fountain. So it's not really that optimal, but ideally I would want like a really raw earthenware, or maybe a granite bowl or something like that, that gives it more strength and more natural look, you know, not like a glazed earthen pot like this one. But it serves the purpose for now. But I'm making, I mean, these things, it takes time, right? You only have place for one of them, so you just don't want to rush and go out and buy the first one you see. I'm keeping my eyes out, and I think, you know, when you find the right one, you just know. And here's where I put all the calatheas I bought on that plant run. And it's just a small part of the garden, but already, you know, I think I've probably put 30 plants down here. I have some spider plants in the rim here. And here are some calatheas that I bought. Again, they're still in these black bags. I want to place them and leave them here for a while and just kind of see how it looks and feel, and just kind of get a feel of whether, you know, I'm happy with them here or not. And so far, I think it's a good mix. I don't want to group them together so much as if, you know, it's like a Dutch garden or something like that. I just want it to blend in, you know, each of the different types blend in together like a natural garden. So the way I arrange them is sort of randomly, but at least have some connection that join them into the larger group. Here are some caladiums that I bought. Actually, the patterns are really nice. I'm not quite sure what kind of environment they would like to be in. I haven't actually raised any caladiums before. So I'm just looking for more information right now and just kind of see where's the best place I should be placing them. But here in the middle of this little island here, again, that blue pole is such an eyesore. I'll be covering him up pretty soon. But this little empty patch right here remains to be filled, and I'm still trying to take time to figure out what kind of plants I want to put here. For sure, I want some kind of a leafy tropical plant that's not too high. If you have any suggestions, you know, please feel free. Here are some plantlets of what we call the dragon's tongue here, and they seem to be doing really well, apart from the yellow leaves, that the yellow older leaves. The newer leaves, they look pretty fine, and they're pretty finicky actually. You know, I noticed that if it's a little bit too hot, a little bit too dry, then their leaves start to turn yellow. Again, here are the baby Java plum plants. They're such a pain, so I know I have to remove these at some point, otherwise they will grow huge, and it's going to be a pain to deal with them then. We call this the queen of the garden. It's a kind of basket fern that we bought at a plant trade show, and it's been sending out these long leaves, beautiful ones, every rainy season. So this is the path down to the rest of the garden. I placed a couple of stones here. There are some heliconias here that I recently planted. They're pretty ragged because I moved them from some place that they didn't really like. They were just planted here probably last week, and what I want here is that I want them to grow taller and just kind of hide the neighbors. And you know, when we look out here, we see only green and nothing outside, and gives us a little piece of privacy. Here's a rock that is covered by the basket fern. This is a basket fern that we commonly see in the forests of Thailand. So this is nothing new, but it's been here for a while, so you can see here you almost can't see the rock anymore. It's just covered with this basket fern. It kind of gives a really nice tropical look. So hopefully all of this will turn into something nice. It takes a lot of time, and I don't want to rush it, because the part that I enjoy most is actually just kind of taking my time and just focusing on a small region at a time of the garden. And you know, the enjoyment is in a journey. If you have any suggestions, questions, or comments, please leave them below. And as usual, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you in my next clip. Have a great one, everyone. Take good care. Bye-bye.